And good afternoon, everyone. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. My name is Jim, and this is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network. This is a directed network, and I am net control. If at any time during this net should an emergency arise, please notify net control, and we'll stand by and allow those in need to access this frequency. Is there any emergency or priority traffic at this time? Hearing nothing, we will continue. This net is all about ham radio. If you have a radio you want to check out, give us a shout. We're recording now live till 5, and then we'll post it up on YouTube so you can come by later and do a call letter search for KC9VKV. That's Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, and that will take you to our Qso-Vlog page, where we're now featuring around about 1,020 Qso-Vlog air checks. Also this afternoon, we're running 4 Internet SDR receivers, monitoring Rochester, New York, Milford, Pennsylvania, Atlanta, Georgia, and Arlington, Virginia, trying to get a better copy on our 100-watt friends. Now, the audio from these 4 SDR receivers comes up on a 6-position rotary selector. Also on this selector is our local receiver audio. And today our local receiver is running 2 large 10-foot vertical magnetic loop antennas, one aimed north and south, the other east and west. The north and south mag loop can be rotated. They are selected by a 3-position rotary selector. Position 3 of this selector is a co-phase option that many times is 3 to 4 dB hotter than mag loop 1 or 2 by themselves. We do use a lot of rotary selectors in our shack, mainly because there's nothing faster than a rotary switch for comparing multiple signals. Also today we'll be running our input source indicator, so when we switch from an Internet SDR to the FT990, you'll be able to hear the switch and see the switch. You'll have to check it out on our YouTube Qso-Vlog video. Well, those are our working conditions. How about yours? This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network, and now let's check in and see if Charlie K1GZL is on frequency to bring us up to date on the latest 40-meter band propagation. Charlie's QTH is up north in New Hampshire, near the Canadian border. Charlie, you got a copy?
Border. Charlie, you got a copy?
Roger, roger. A beautiful copy, direct 10 to 20 over 9, but my SWR is terrible. Go ahead.
Oh, roger, roger. Now, what's caused your SWR rise?
What's caused your SWR rise?
Well, the problem is we're having some rain. It is raining, and I am resident this diamond-shaped wire quad, 3 elements. It goes a little berserk when it rains. The resonant frequency drops way down, and the SWR is about 3.5, 4 to 1, and I may be putting out, if I'm lucky, 400 watts. But I do have something I want to play. My tape recorder has, to a degree, has conked out. I can record a signal direct, but I cannot play it back direct. I have to hold the microphone. But I was talking to VK2SR, that's Chris, and he's just south of Canberra, Australia. That's the capital of Australia, like our Washington, D.C., of course, is our capital. And he was talking about what they cannot get in the stores due to all this, this problem. And let me play just a couple seconds of it. I'm holding the microphone up to this tinny speaker.
Hey, this evening, right? Charlie, not you're banging in here, man. No problem at all. So yeah, it's good to catch you, both you Charlies. And yeah, Charlie, the same problem here. Toilet paper's gone. But the supermarkets today were empty again. The suppliers have run out of product apparently. The meat's gone. All the party pies, sausage rolls, all that sort of frozen meat's gone. Milk's gone. UHT milk's gone. We're starting to recover here, but it's just people are driving all over the city and just trolleys of everything just loading up there.
Okay, so that's their problem, just like ours, Jim. K1GZL.
Roger, Charlie. Well, listen, that sounded really good. That sounded almost as good as your direct, I guess. You know, I could hear him very well. So you're keeping on in adverse conditions, Roger.
In adverse conditions, Roger.
Okay, well, that's remarkable. It's a still tiny speaker and a cassette, and I'm just holding my microphone right up to it, Jim. Yeah, this is really warm. It's 49 degrees out. When I looked 25 minutes ago, it was 49 degrees. The normal high on this date is 33, and we still have up to foot and a half, 2 feet of snow on the ground in places. Other places it's blown thin, quite thin, and a couple isolated little bare spots under some of the heavier trees where it hasn't been able to collect as much. So there we are. But propagation, though, has been very good down into Australia day after day after day in the morning on the short pass. Go ahead.
Oh, Roger. Well, just as Rochester faded out, I had managed to get Milford up, and I'm copying you about 12 over Milford's noise level. So excellent signal. Now, I wanted to ask you about your CQDX situation. Do you think 40 meters is at its best at like 5:30 or 6:30 in the morning?
30 or 6:30 in the morning?
Yes. I would say you are correct on that, Jim. It's open all night, and then eventually after about Eastern daylight time, after maybe 2 or 3 in the morning, it does open into first New Zealand, then Australia, and I would say 95%, 90 to 95% of the time when you get to 4:30 to about 7:30 Eastern time, 40 meters is very, very consistent, very consistent. Now, here's how you're sounding when I'm holding the mic. Wait a minute.
I wanted to ask you about your CQDX situation. Do you think 40 meters is at its best at like 5:30 or 6:30 in the morning?
Okay, Jim, I hope you could hear that. K1GZL, go ahead.
Oh, Charlie, just perfect, man. I think I would just do that way. I mean, I think that's actually cleaner than direct. I think you're, going through that microphone. You have your, the processing of the microphone and the characteristics of the microphone equalization blend perfectly for that playback orally, Roger.
Orally, Roger.
Okay, well, I'm using 3.6 wide on the 7300, 3.6 and a low compression level of 3. And to me, that seemed to be the best when I was going electronically both ways. But in other words, the reproduction going through the microphone seems to be working. I was trying to find out, doing it this way, if I had a lot of fan noise from the amplifier, because I was wondering if the noise from the amplifier was coming through on those recordings. So go ahead.
I didn't notice much of that at all. It was mainly just the Aircheck noise that I thought I was hearing, but whatever it was, the voice level was well above the background level. So that's the important fact. I don't know really what the background was, but the voice was well above it, Roger.
It was well above it, Roger.
Okay, well, that makes me feel very good. Well, look, Jim, I know there's going to be an awful lot of people trying to work you and test out rigs and so on. So I'm going to say 73. Mike, if you're on WA30, let me know, and I'll meet you down around 150 plus or minus. So, Jim, thank you so much. And Your audio is absolutely perfect. I'm sure you sound exactly the same in person, not being on the air as you do over the air. KC9VKV, K1GZL. The very best, Jim, and thank you so much for being patient with me.
Charlie, beautiful signal. Yeah, even, I don't know, we'll make it work even if we have to use barbed wire. We'll make it work. Threes, Charlie, you have a good afternoon, great afternoon, and a beautiful weekend coming up. This is the Qso-Vlog network. We do this Friday afternoons between 3:30 and 5 and record all the time and then go to YouTube and post it up on YouTube so you can, go by YouTube. And today's entity will be called My Group Aircheck 3 2020. I know last week, occasionally I was using, instead of 32020, I was using 30 at the end. So, some days are like that. But the actual entity will be called My Group Aircheck 3 2020. This is KC9VKV. If you've got a radio you want to check out, give me a shout. I was just moving my my signal input selector around just a little bit. You guys try one more time. I'm on my local antenna now.
Kilo 6, Echo Romeo Sierra, K6 ERS.
K6 station, come back with the call sign again, please.
Yeah, it's Kilo 6, Echo Romeo Sierra.
K6 Echo Romeo Sierra, Roger.
Yeah, Roger.
Yeah, what's the name there?
Name's Blake. We're located in Louisville, Kentucky. We're actually on Floyd Knobs, sitting still, looking out over New Albany in a mobile here, running the Yaesu FT891 with a little Tar Heel number 2.
Roger that. Well, you are pushing your ALC a little warm, but I know your mobiles. But if you get a chance later on, you might want to pull your mic gain down just a little bit because you are wrapping the ALC meter around itself.
All right, let's see here. Just the mic gain, the FM or the sideband mic gain here, I noticed it's set at 50.
Yeah, that looked better there. Pull it down to 40 and let me hear you.
Okay, we should be at 40 there. Kilo 6, Echo Romeo Sierra.
Okay, now your dynamic range is about 3 dB where it should be. Before you were about 1.5 dB. It was kind of up against the wall,
All right, Roger, I appreciate that. And I've talked to you before on the local repeaters. I just haven't been able to talk to you on HF. Wasn't licensed yet, so I took my test last Saturday down at Hardin County, Radcliffe, Kentucky, with the amateurs down there in E-Town. So I'm now a /AG, K6 ERS /AG.
All right, AG. Well, gosh, you're sounding really good, and you're in the cat's meow position up there in the knobs, Roger. What's the altitude up there?
What would you say, about 890, maybe 900?
Somewhere there for sure, but it gives you a little edge when you're trying to get down the road.
Yeah, Roger. I don't know. Are you probably able to hear? Are you hearing me on your local antenna?
Oh yeah. But come back and let me check you on some of the others. Give me a little report on what you like best about your radio.
All right. Yeah, I'd like to upgrade the. I'd like to upgrade the antenna here because the little Tar Heel 2 antenna it's only rated for 200 watts. 4 or 500 watt amp in there. That way 75 and 80 can operate a lot better than where we're at. But yeah, anyway, back to you there, K6 ERS Mobile /AG.
Roger. Yeah, mostly the local antenna. You're very, very strong locally. But, I could probably open the blinds and see you up there on the ridge.
Yeah, when you switch back and forth to those other antennas, are you able to talk off those other locations or just receive?
No, I just use those for receive locations to try to get closer to the 100-watt folks that are trying to check in, Roger.
All right, Roger. Yeah, we won't keep the net tied up here, so I appreciate you checking in there, and we'll move on down the road here. Good talk to you, Jim. I'd like to talk to you on the 200 machine and some other ones up here. All right, 73's there, K6ERS/AG.
Roger, Blake, 3 set wait, sir. Have a good afternoon. And that mobile's sounding really, really good. Catch you later. This is KC9VKV, the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. If you've got a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Kilo 4 Yankee Zulu Victor.
Kilo. Let me get my pen now and say it as I write it. Kilo 4, what was the rest?
Yankee Zulu Victor.
Yankee Zulu Victor. Roger. What's the name?
The name here is Lionel in Georgia, McDonough, Georgia. Go ahead.
Yes, sir, Lionel. I remember you from last week. How you doing?
Well, we're doing pretty good. I told you I'll come out there and see what's going on the net. And yeah, I'm out there. Go ahead.
Oh, Roger. Well, you got a beautiful signal. What kind of antenna are you running there?
We're running an old Carolina Wyndham 160 there. Go ahead.
Sounds beautiful. You're about 12 over. I'm on my local antenna. We're located just across the river from Louisville, Kentucky, on the Indiana side of the Ohio River. And you're doing me about a 12 over. I'm saying that means 12 dB over my residual noise level, which equates pretty much to a 12 over on an S meter reading.
Well, you're doing about the same here in McDonough there for sure. You're definitely coming in there real strong there. Back to you. Go ahead.
Oh, roger that. Well, your audio is just perfect. Dynamic range is about 3 dB, exactly where you want to be. So it's nice and fat. Roger.
I appreciate it. I went on the YouTube channel to check you out there. I think, 2 days ago we spoke, and I don't think you got a chance to run the last audio check we did there. Go ahead.
Let me see. Was that a test run? Was I testing at that? What day was that?
I think that was on Thursday. I think that was actually on Wednesday, and that was a test run there. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm pretty... I think I'm pretty up to date. Try to get up to date before I get more, before the show. So I think I've got everything. I might be one back. I'm not real sure. I could be, come to think of it. And I'll probably have that up this afternoon, Roger.
I appreciate it there for sure. Well, you're definitely doing a good job there. Continue doing a good work as you do, and we're going to stand by there and let somebody else check in. So again, this is Kilo 4 Yankee Zulu Victor, my friend Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. Back to you. Go ahead.
Roger, Lionel. And what radio are you running today?
We're running the old Mark 5 MP 1000 there. We're doing about 400 or 500 watts at this time there. Go ahead.
Oh, Roger. Well, you got them all headed in my antenna.
Yeah, it's an old antenna we had from the old shack, and we brought it back in there and changed the balance a bit and put some new feed line, and that's it there. Back to you. Go ahead.
Roger. Well, I've not had much luck with balance. I actually haven't really ran them a bunch. I've mostly been running unbalanced. I got the SWR down to 0.05, 0.04, so I said close enough, there's nothing coming back. So, just something else up there to burn up, Roger.
Yeah. Well, I'm not a great fan of wire antenna. I mean, it's just a compromise for me right now, but I'm in the process of building a 4-element 440 full size, so I'm trying to get all my hardware together there. Go ahead.
Oh, that's going to be something there. You'll have all kinds of gain that way. Hopefully, you'll be pointed in the direction where there's lots of people. Yeah. I'll still keep the wire antenna in there to see where I'm at, but it's just trying to get everything to resonate the way I want it, and it's just a nightmare fooling around with the antenna tune and all that stuff. So basically, I'm just gonna build a mono band up for 40 and one for 20, then be done with it. There, go ahead. Oh, Roger that. Well, I know you sounded really good. Appreciate you checking in, sir.
Well, 73 and keep on the good work. We'll be standing by and monitor there. Go ahead.
Roger, Roger, 3Z way down in Georgia. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, the Qso-Vlog network for Friday afternoon. We record live from 3:30 till 5, then posted up on YouTube. Today's post will be entitled My Group Aircheck 32020. My Group Aircheck 32020. This is KC9VKV listening. Alpha, Romeo, there was something else in between there. Come back with your call sign again.
November 4, number 3, Echo Alpha Romeo.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mr. Ear, go ahead.
Mr. Ear, go ahead. Yes, very good. We'll say hello to you once again. Thank you very much for your last recording about a week ago. And we're on a different rig this time, the Yaesu Mark V field, and I'm running that stealth antenna up in the attic, the Alpha Delta CC in the attic on a zigzag, and we're 100 watts. Jim, over.
You're amazing. You're amazing. I would have thought you were running about 1,400 watts. I mean, you're just, like at least a 12 over and just, solid as a rock. I never heard an interior antenna sound that good, Roger, particularly for the distance.
Very good. I think it's just maybe it's orientation and just the angle off the earth here, the house. And I did hear that mobile that you were talking to earlier also with the Tar Heel antenna. I heard him no problem here. And I do have another antenna. I haven't got the ability to switch it over right now, but I have what they call a slinky. Remember the old toy up and down the stairs, slinky? I have a slinky antenna also. It works great too. Over.
Roger, well, I would be amazed if you could do better than where you are right at the moment. I mean, you're just so solid, and like I say, I would have thought that from way up there in Canada, you'd be running about 1,500 watts to get down here with that signal.
I know, and it's 100 watts. I do have my processor on. My ALC is just a hair high. I'll turn that down a bit there. And and this is a stock microphone handheld, over.
Roger, must be an electret.
It's the Yaesu 31, but it has the modified element inside of it, so it does put a little bit higher, but that's just out of it's all INRAD filters put into the rig too, so there's been some work done to it, but other than that, I love it for an old rig, and I won't hold you, Jim, because I know there's an awful lot that we're trying to call, and you have a 20 over S9 my way, over.
Oh, Roger. Well, thank you so much, sir. Yeah, your signal is just beautiful. I wouldn't change a thing. Get the duct tape out and back it up with some super glue.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you very much, and you have a safe environment there. And until the next time we talk, thank you very much for what you do. Victor Alpha number 3, Echo Alpha Romeo, the ear. Kevin will clear with you.
Roger, Kevin, 3Z way, sir. Have a great afternoon. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network. If you've got a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
November 4, Hotel Lima Papa.
Okay, there's a November 4 station. Repeat the call again, please, slowly, phonetically.
November 4, Hotel Lima Papa.
Roger, and what's the name there?
Name here is Harold, and Ocala, Florida. How you doing, Jim?
Roger, was that Harold?
That's correct.
Roger, Ocala, Florida. Well, not too far from my stomping grounds there in West Palm, Roger.
Yeah, we're about 80 miles north of Tampa, 35 miles south of Gainesville. I just happened to be surfing around on YouTube yesterday,
and caught your show. So here I am, glad to have made it. Over.
Oh, Roger, well, you're doing fine style there. I'm on the Milford PA SDR, and you're doing about 12 over up in Milford, Pennsylvania, Roger.
Milford, Pennsylvania, Roger.
Yes, very good. Where are those SDRs? Is that SDR on the web? How do you get those SDRs?
Those are internet SDRs. I have 4 tablets in front of me, and I have the audio coming out of the tablets into a 6-position rotary switch, and 2 of those are my local receivers, and the other 4 are the internet SDR tablet audios, Roger.
SDR tablet audios, Roger.
Roger that, yes. What is the web address? Is it SDR web or something like that?
I believe that's it. It has changed. The one I used to use was now requiring a sign-in, so there's another one that I'm using now. I forget what the new one is, but you don't have to sign in for it, Roger.
You don't have to sign in for it, Roger.
Roger on that, yes. Okay, well, I'm using a Yaesu 9000 here with a hand microphone, and my antenna is a Buckmaster off-center fed inverted V. And I'm running about 1 kilowatt with an AL80B. Is the audio up to your standards, over?
Just perfect. I wouldn't change a thing there. It's got nice equalization. The dynamic range looks to be maybe 3.25%. I really can't see 0.25% of it, but it looks like it might be just a little. You might check your ALC and see if you're mid-scale to 2/3. That might be that last little imph that would bring you to 3 dB. Yeah, you want to check that your ALC with a mic gain in hand and adjust it for mid-scale to 2/3.
Adjusted for mid-scale to 2/3.
Right. Yeah, I got it just about that way now. Just about 2/3. I was reading a little bit about you on QRZ. Evidently, your old address is still in there in Indiana. But at any rate, I was reading a blurb about you, and I also used to run a neighborhood pirate AM radio station when I was young. Had a really fun time with that station. A lot of people didn't know. They thought it was a real radio station. They just had no idea what it takes to get a real station on the air. And I had a lot of fun with that, Jim. Sounding good here. Sounding good. And I'm so glad I came by your website. Over.
Roger, now there's 2 parts to that website on YouTube. The main one used to be Jim Fergusson's radio story, and that's where we celebrate 50 years of commercial broadcasting. We have about 500 some odd segments to that, and I have, you're talking about your bootleg radio station. Well, I have recordings when I was 10 years old of my bootleg radio station, along with the commercials, quote unquote, that I was airing and cut. My mom got me a little tape machine, and so I would do commercials, and I would play them on the air. And I had commercials, and I had a lot of promotions too. And so I have all of those tapes you might find interesting. Probably the easiest way to get to that would be to go to YouTube and go Jim Fergusson's radio story. That's with 2 S's, and that'll take you to our main thing there. And we have a bunch of ad-lib comedy pieces that we did along the way, and a lot of documentaries and music specials. And then one of the other segments is this Qso-Vlog segment, and we have right now about 1,020 recorded air checks in there, Roger.
Roger, yes. I was up till about 6 o'clock this morning, just listening to your vlog, your video log there, vlog. It was very cool, very interesting, and I can say that you're really doing a really nice service for the ham radio community. Really appreciate it. So, hey, I don't want to take it up. I know there's a lot of people want to talk to you, Jim, and for Hotel Lima Papa listening now.
Roger, Harold 3's that way, sir. Good to hear you, and thanks for checking in. If you get a chance to join us next Friday, with any luck, we'll be on the air between 3:30 and 5 next Friday, and I'd love to hear you. So 3's for now. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor, Kilo Victor, and this is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. If you've got a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
You want to check out? Give me a shout.
There was a Sierra station, I think. Try again.
November 4, Sierra, Oscar, Charlie.
November 4, Sierra, Oscar, Charlie. Roger. What's the name there?
Roger. What's the name there?
Good afternoon, Jim. My name is Chip, Charlie Hotel India Papa, and I'm located in just about 50 miles west of Charlotte, North Carolina, on the South Carolina line. And just rolling through. I've heard you before and never have called in, and just heard you and wanted to give you a call today.
Roger, Chip. Now, are you a base station or are you mobile?
Base station or you're mobile?
I'm base station. From 100 watts, ICOM 7300, into a Carolina Wyndham up at about 45 feet of it.
Yes, sir. Well, you've got a handle on that 7300. It sounds good. I think you've got everything adjusted just about perfectly. Your dynamic range is about 3 dB, and your audio EQ is right perfect.
Roger. That's what I was looking for, to see what you could see on the information on your end, and I do thank you for that. And by the way, you're 20/9 here at my location in North Carolina, and sound wonderful as you always do on the air. So, Jim, I won't hold you. You've got a lot of people calling you. Thanks for the information. That's what I was looking for, and have a good weekend. KC9VKV and 4SOC.
Roger, sir. 3 is that way, and you have a real good weekend coming up. Sounding really good. This is KC9VKV, the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network. If you've got a radio you want to check out, give me a shout. JPD, come back with your call sign again. Station JPD, I believe it was. Well, I guess not. PUP, is that you?
Tango, November. Would that be me?
Yes, that's you. Come back with a call sign slowly, phonetically.
Yeah, it's November 3, Juliet Tango, November, Larry in Leonardtown, Maryland. I talked to you last Friday, but conditions, if you recall, were really bad, and we lost one another during conversation.
Yes, well, I've got you. I've got a room of you now. What's the name there?
Name is Larry, Lima Alpha Radio Yankee, and I'm on a brand new ICOM 7300. I just got it yesterday afternoon, so I'm running a Heil 781 mic, 100 watts, and all center fed at 40 feet.
Well, now, how can you possibly have that radio set up so well and only had it that long?
I went into Bob Heil's website and looked at his recommendation for starting off, so I said it like that.
Well, Roger, it just sounds beautiful. It couldn't be better. Good dynamic range, and just, don't change a thing. Get the duct tape. Get the Gorilla Tape and tape her down.
Okay, Jim. It's, man, I tell you what, it's hot here in southern Maryland this afternoon. I'm running 88 degrees with shorts on. Tomorrow morning, we're going to have to get the coat out of the closet.
Oh, Roger that. It's coming that time, Unfortunately, though, with the way things are, corona-wise, I don't know how much outdoor living one can do, Roger.
People
I said I'm going to see if I can get a hold of you today and have a little conversation. So 73s, Jim. Have a great weekend. November 3, Juliet, Tango, November.
Roger, Larry, 3's that way. So I'm trying to get my SDRs up and running. You know, I only have a pass on one, and I have to keep the others kind of, it's like juggling 4 or 5 balls at the same time, you know, because first off, you know, they give you a 20-minute inattention thing because you didn't do anything. Well, you know, I use the SDR to listen to. I don't have to make any adjustments to it once I get there, you know, so they kick me out after 20 minutes because of inactivity, and then if I get back in after that, then they kick me out after 30 minutes for being there too long. So I don't know. The secret is really to get a password for these burgers, but the problem is a lot of them, you know, you can't get to the right people. They're almost like trying to talk to YouTube. I don't know if anybody's ever had the experience of trying to contact anybody at YouTube, but just hang it up. There's no way. This is KC9VKV, the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. If you've got a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Kilo, Bravo 3, Charlie, Mike Tango.
Charlie, Mike Tango, give me the call sign from the beginning, slowly, phonetically.
Roger. This is Kilo, Bravo 3, Charlie, Mike Tango. Curtis, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Roger, what part of Pennsylvania?
I'm just outside of Pittsburgh.
Roger that, sounding good. And the name's what?
The handle here is Curtis. Charlie, Uniform, Romeo, Tango, India, Sierra. Curtis.
Roger, Curtis. And gosh, what radio are you running?
I am running an ICOM 7300.
Oh, man, I should have known. Any radio that just sounds absolutely perfect, it's got to be a 7300.
Oh, Roger. I greatly appreciate the audio feedback there. This is a fairly new radio to me, about a month or so. Just running it through its bells and whistles here.
Oh, Roger, yeah, you'll really love that radio. My Omer managed to secure a 7300 for me to experiment with, and matter of fact, I'll have a report on that today. I did a synopsis of an operator's outlook on running a 7300, and so we'll have that maybe in the next few minutes. Roger.
Oh, Roger. I'll look forward to seeing that once it's posted.
Roger, Curtis. Well, gosh, you're doing great here. Probably looking about 10 over my noise level and 10 dB over my noise level, so you're doing a great job.
Oh, Roger there, Jim. You yourself, I've got you between 15 and 20 over S9 here, just south of Pittsburgh, so sounding fantastic as usual. Appreciate the conversation today. 7-3.
Roger, Curtis. Might look at getting a windscreen a foam windscreen for your microphone.
Roger. I will do so. Thank you, sir.
Alrighty, 3's that way. And as we promised, we now present another thrilling edition of Adventure in Radioland. This segment, the final test results on the ICOM 7300. Well, first, I want to thank my Elmer, Lou, N9GTO, for arranging my 3-month 7300 experience. Now, probably on air, I've helped set up in excess of 250 ICOM 7300s, and when the ICOM 7300 transmitter is set up correctly, it is one of the best-sounding transmitters I've ever heard. The ICOM engineers made sure that the 3K sea of space it talked on would be just a slice of perfection, starting with the supplied Electret hand mic. Now, I know the first thing everybody wanted to do was to get a desk mic put on it, but you know, you have to realize that it would cost you $250 to match the sound quality of that hand mic. The transmit audio chain of the 7300 is just perfect with practically no distortion. And the other thing is, as far as getting your dynamic range, well, it's just beautiful. It starts, normal non-processed audio is about 10 dB wide excursion. Well, the first thing is when you bring in your your compressor at a 3 out of 10. That takes your dynamic range down to about a 6 dB excursion. From there it moves to the transmit audio limiter, and your AOC meter is actually looking at the output of that limiter. And then when you adjust your AOC meter to read mid-scale to 2/3 by way of adjusting your mic gain, you force the limiter into an additional 3 dB reduction of dynamic range. So the end result works out to be a 3 dB transmit audio dynamic range, and that equates to an 80 to 85% of average peak modulation, which is a very fat sound, but a very pleasing sound where everything is working, but with a great deal of finesse. The Stonewall limiter is actually worth its weight in gold. Its repetitive 100% limit point is absolute. There's no blow-by. When I set up your transmitter, one of the things I'm looking at is an audio VU meter tied to my receiver, and I'm looking at your audio signal ballistically. And the first thing I do is calibrate your signal to 0 level, and from that point I can see your transmit audio dB dynamic range, and I can also see how well your limiter controls your peaks at the 0 point, and how precise and repetitive it is, and how stonewall it is. And with the 7300, as I said, there's no blow-by. It is dead on the limit point consistently, and that's the main thing. And that's what makes the 7300 such a great transmitter. Come now the 7300 receiver portion. I had the pleasure of testing the ICOM 7300 receiver for 3 months, and most all of that time the ICOM 7300 was set up in an AB receiver test mode against my classic modified Yaesu FT990. And FYI, the 7300 receiver setup was the bandpass 100 to 2900, filter number 1 on, no noise reduction, no noise blank, preamp number 1 on, no AGC compression. And my observations were consistently the 7300 receiver was tighter on the sides. Adjacent channel QRM was almost always less on the 7300, and the overall audio frequency response was noticeably greater than my 990, even though my 990 has had audio frequency extension mods. I'm talking about signals even below 100 hertz on the bottom end receiver audios that would show up on my spectrum analyzer. Shortcomings? Yeah, the little speaker inside the box. You have to think outside the box to keep up with the 7300. You need a new 2.1 speaker sound system with a subwoofer to get your audio monitoring down to around 50 hertz. Do yourself a favor. Walmart Logitech 2.1, $35. And that will be the perfect monitor for your shack there for only $35. Logitech at Walmart. And gosh, I wish I had stock in that, but I don't. But the reason for the subwoofer is to be able to get your audio monitoring on down below 100 cycles, which, you know, if you really want to perceive what's going on in HF radio, you have to have a monitor system that's capable of reproducing the actual audio signals. So that's it for that. This is KC9VKV, and again, if you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Kilo 4, Lima, Japan, Echo, Mobile.
Kilo 4, Lima, Japan, what was the rest?
Yeah, Kilo 4, Lima, Japan, Echo, Mobile, Eden, North Carolina. The handle is Jim. Hello, Jim.
Hello, Jim in Eden. Gosh, that Mobile gets out.
Well, thank you, sir. I am sitting here in the parking lot of McDonald's. I had to go pay the water bill for the XYL, so I'm sitting here in the parking lot at McDonald's drinking a senior coffee, listening to all these fine signals down here into North Carolina, and I'm looking at the pollen that is collected on the hood of my truck, and I can't wait for more pollen there. Hi. Very good. Yes, thank you so much for letting us in here. I got one deal I haven't done yet, I don't think. This mobile radio, I appreciate the report, by the way. I don't ordinarily run the processor, so I'm sitting here without the processor with the mic gain at about 9:15 on the clock. Any recommendations?
Well, gosh, if you can slip that compressor on, let's hear it. Now, the thing is, yeah, you're stationary. So, it might be a different story if you're tooling down the road at 60 miles an hour with a compressor on, Roger.
Yeah, and this thing is very, very sensitive as far as the background noise in the cab. Okay, there's the processor on. Hello, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's a processor off. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Processor off. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Processor on. Go ahead, sir.
Roger, Jim. What it does boost you up there. I tell you the way I would look at it. If you were having difficulty getting to somebody over the hill, I would put the compressor on. But otherwise, I would leave it off because you just sound so natural and not really pushed without it. Roger.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that so much. This is a factory, completely factory TS440 Kenwood mobile rig here. And the original hand mic and everything is original. The only thing is it's missing the Kenwood label off the front, K4LJE.
Now, who stole that?
I don't know. I got it off of eBay, so somebody must have bumped it or something when they removed it. I don't know.
Well, shoot, don't have to have the nameplate on it to perform it. I mean, the guts inside is the thing that makes it work, Roger.
Yeah, that is a Roger. Yes, indeed. One thing real quick. You and I were talking about vodka being sanitizing agent. There is a distillery in Wilmington, North Carolina, and I'll be quick. There is a distillery in Wilmington, North Carolina. They are known as the, not advertising for them, they are known as the End of Days Distillery. Now, how's that for a name? End of Days Distillery, and they make everything a kind of a craft whiskey plant, and they are now commissioned to make hand sanitizer. What do you think about that?
Oh, just a short jump from where they are, man. I got me a quart of vodka today just for antiseptical reasons for myself or some rags or something, whatever I have to use to justify getting the booze.
Yeah, Roger. But I think it was the same day that you and I were talking, and I swear to you, they came on that night. It was on the local news, and they had a nice, cute little label on the bottle and everything. I just could not believe it. It was just crazy. All right, Jim, I really thank you for the report on everything, and I'm going to leave this thing where it is then. I had it where I thought maybe okay, but I didn't want to be too weak and people straining to hear me and that kind of thing, and I didn't want to be overdriving. 73 is everybody on the frequency. KC9VKV. Thank you so much. K4LJE.
Roger, Jim. Just beautiful. I wouldn't change a thing there. Just a question. Do you ever get the opportunity to watch the Moonshiners on TV?
Oh, yes. And I remember the great Popcorn Sutton, too, Roger.
Roger. A lot of that stuff happened up in your neck of the woods.
Yeah. And there's an area in Virginia, Franklin County, Virginia, that's notorious with people who have the same last name as I do, Roger.
Roger. All right, Jim, 3's that way, sir. Sounding really good back here.
Okay, thank you, Jim. K4LJE.
Roger. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. If you got a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Kilo Echo 8, November Golf Bravo, Whiskey
K4ABO.
K4ABO. What's the name there?
Name is Justin here, K4ABO, K4 Alpha Bravo Oscar.
Roger, Justin. Whereabouts are you, sir?
Do what now?
What's your location, sir?
We're over here northwest of downtown Atlanta in Dallas, Georgia.
Dallas, Georgia. Roger, where are you doing me about a 12 over up here around Louisville, Kentucky, Roger?
Yeah, Roger. Okay. Yeah, I think I checked in with you maybe a couple months ago. I'm not sure if you got the record on it or not, but yeah, I just thought I'd jump in here again and see if you had any pointers this go around.
Come back and tell me about your antenna system so I might listen to you a little bit.
Okay, I'm just on a a 75 40-meter fan dipole up probably about 25 feet at the very highest. So just a homebrew dipole, fan dipole.
Roger, Roger. Are you familiar with your radio?
Yeah, it's a 7600, and I'm running some outboard. I'm running a little Behringer mixer board into the rear of the radio with a MXL BCD-1 little broadcast mic. Kind of the same thing as like a HAL 781, but a little cheaper.
Roger. Now, if you could, just a couple of clicks more on the top end, right around 3K. If you could find that on your EQ, that would be just absolutely the articulation that would set you perfect.
All right, turned up a little more of the high. I've got 3 different settings. I got a high and a mid and a low setting turn knob. So I turned up the highs just a tad bit more.
Roger, yes, I think that's perfect. You need just a little bit more articulation. I'm looking at your signal on a spectrum analyzer, and you just needed just a little bit more on the top end. So if you want to hear what your radio sounds like, we are recording now from 3:30 till 5, and then we'll post it up on YouTube. So if you go to YouTube in the next couple of days and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to our Qso-Vlog page. And on that page, well, we've got about 1,020 Qso-Vlog recordings, but you'll be looking for one in particular that hopefully will be on page 1, and it will be called My Group Aircheck 3/20/20, today's date. My Group Aircheck 3/20/20. Roger?
Roger. All right, well, sounds good, and I won't hold it up anymore, but appreciate you giving me a little tweak there today, and you're coming in good like always, and we'll turn it back over to you, and I always enjoy listening to you on Fridays. I don't listen every Friday, but I try to listen when I can. So, Jim, appreciate it again for picking me up, and we'll turn it back over to you. K4ABO.
Roger, Justin. Yeah, you ended up there at about a 15 over my 15 dB over my local noise level, so really good. Real good. I wouldn't change a thing. Just perfect. This is a Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. Now, let me make a little adjustment here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is KC9VKV in the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network. If you've got a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Check out, give me a shout.
Gosh, I say there was about 7 stations in there, so the loudest one, try it again. Oh, it's just amazing. It's just 7 stations, and they're all right there together. And you know, like normally, what I would do would be I would fan out onto my my internet SDR receivers and try to get a little bit broader view of the picture. But right at this point, I've only got 2 SDRs running for one reason or the other, so I can't really branch out like that. But I will try. If you would be so nice as to try again, please.
Kilo Echo 8, November Golf Bravo.
Kilo Echo 8. I got that. Kilo Echo 8. And what's the rest of the call sign?
It is Kilo Echo 8, November Golf Bravo.
Kilo Echo 8, November Golf Bravo, Roger.
Very good, yes, sir. Pleasure to speak with you again. You were the absolutely first contact that I had on ham radio just a couple of days after I got my general license, and it's a pleasure to talk to you again. Of course, looking for advice, Jim. My name is Roy. That's Romeo Oscar Yankee.
Roger, Roy. What radio are you running?
Nikon 7300, sir.
Okay. Do you know your way around it fairly well?
Yes, I do. Somewhat. Go right ahead.
All right, I would go to EQ, and I would punch up 2 more on the top end of your EQ. You have a very nice audio curve, equalization curve, but you need just a little bit more articulation on the top end. So I would go 2 clicks hotter than where you are on your treble EQ.
Very good, standby.
Station tuning up, please. Do not tune up on an active frequency. Do not tune up on an active frequency. Thank you.
Very good, Jim. I'm up 2 on the high end. This is Kilo Echo 8, November Golf Bravo.
Okay, now look at your ALC and adjust your mic level to where your ALC is running mid-scale to 2/3.
Okay, go ahead. Kilo Echo 8, November Golf Bravo, adjusted.
Gosh, now, how did you do that without transmitting?
I'm sorry, sir, go ahead.
Oh, Roger, you can only adjust your ALC in the transmit mode. So in the transmit mode, speak in a normal tone of voice and adjust your mic level control, your gain control, until your ALC is reading mid-scale to 2/3. And don't do it like, I'm going to set a level here, and just in your normal speech pattern, just the way you talk, just adjust that mic level to where your ALC meter is running mid-scale to 2/3, Roger.
Very good. This is Kilo Echo 8, November Golf Bravo.
Unfortunately, we have somebody that just cannot understand why you might not want to tune up on an active frequency. But anyway, come back again. And I didn't get your name. Come back to the person I'm working with on the 7300. What's your name?
Very good. My name is Roy. That's Romeo Oscar Yankee. Kilo Echo 8, November Golf Bravo.
Roger that. Okay, Roy, tell me about your antenna system.
It's a homemade inverted V dipole. Unfortunately, the feed height is only at about 20 feet at this moment. It's kind of the version 1.1, I guess. I'm running just 100 watts and an antenna turner over.
Alrighty, and now what we normally recommend in setting up the 7300 is to engage your compressor at about a 3, turn your compressor on at about a 3, Roger.
Very good. It was adjusted at 2. Now it's at 3. I do have my gain up significantly. I was at 61 and now I'm at 69, over.
Yeah, you're going the wrong way. You need to drop down to about 45.
Very good. My gain is now at 45. This is Kilo Echo 8, November Golf Bravo.
Roger, we're getting there. Drop it to 40, and you should be able to see what's happening on your ALC meter. That's the Bible of the 7300 is the ALC meter.
Very good. Kilo Echo 8, November Golf Bravo, down to a mic level of 40, over.
Okay, and what's your ALC reading?
Stand by. I'm trying to switch my meter over. Okay, ALC is just right at about 50%, maybe a little bit higher, over.
Okay, what kind of mic are you running?
I have a Heel headset, I think it's the Heel ProSet 6 IC, over.
Okay, and do you have external processing?
No, that's a negative. It's just going. I believe that's what you're asking me. It's just going directly into the radio, over.
Oh, Roger. And your mic gain is at 40. I would take it down to 35.
Okay, now going down to 35. Stand by. Okay, this is Kilo Echo 8, November Golf Bravo, with mic gain at 35.
Okay, sounding better. Now I would take that boom mic and I would move it to the side, and it's going straight out as opposed to bending back in front of your lips. You know, I would move it, leave it kind of straight out, Roger.
Okay, Kilo Echo 8, November Golf Bravo, mic gain at 35, and the microphone has been adjusted out.
All right, now I'd bring it to about a 40. Make it a 45 on your mic gain, and let's see what we got there.
Very good. 45 on the mic gain. Again, Kilo Echo 8, November Golf Bravo.
Okay, what I would do is just at the last minute on that mic, I would bend it towards center, so you have like an L at the last minute there. So you've put that mic out in front of you about 2 inches or so if you've got that much space.
Very good. Mic gain at 45. I've repositioned the microphone again straight out, just the very end of it facing in towards my mouth.
Roger, and then you're 45. I'd bring it to 40.
Adjusted to 40. Mic gain is adjusted to 40. Over.
Okay, sounds pretty good. Now, you know, the problem is always that you're close to that microphone, and that's the name of the game with those headset mics. So, you know, there's no law against being able to run two foam windscreens simultaneously, one over top of the other, because I'm still catching some transient stuff on your voice, you know, and I don't think you can probably maybe move that microphone much out further, so you might consider a double foam windscreen on your mic, Roger.
Okay, very good. I could certainly give that a try. I've kind of repositioned a little bit, try to stretch it out as far as I can and turn it back in just at the last moment.
Yeah, that sounded good there. That sounded good. But, you know, probably if you get a chance, nothing major. I mean, we're talking, you know, little bitsy things here. But if you could put that double windscreen on it, the double foam windscreen, I think that would just absolutely make it perfect.
No, so listen, I greatly appreciate it. I really haven't had anyone. Usually I get a fairly decent signal report, but no one ever has the expertise or goes into what should be done with the radio or the microphone to do the best it can with it. Over.
Roger that. Now, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for KC9VKV, that will take you to our Qso-Vlog page, and on that page you'll be looking for one Qso entitled My Group Aircheck 32020. My Group Aircheck 32020, and you can listen to our evolution, Roger.
Very good. I will look forward. I really appreciate all your time today, and I've had the opportunity a few weeks in a row to listen, and it's always very enjoyable. I really appreciate it. Again, this is Kilo Echo 8, November Golf Bravo, and 7-3.
Roger, Rory, 3Z Waste, sir. Have a good afternoon. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor, Kilo Victor, the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. If you've got a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Victor Echo 3, Papa, Charlie, Papa.
Papa, Charlie, Papa. Good afternoon.
Yeah, very good afternoon, Jim. It's Rob, Victor Echo 3, Papa, Charlie, Papa. I've got a friend of mine riding along in the background here. He just got himself a new radio. I'm not sure whether he's going to be in there or not, but he just picked up a Kenwood TS480. He's been trying to get in. His call letter is Victor Echo 3, Victor Charlie Golf. So I wanted to try and get in and see if he could get in behind me here. So anyway, I'm on my Kenwood TS520, and I'm running a Shure 444 desk mic on it. And the name here is Rob. Back to KC9VKV, the tree PCP.
Roger, now is he monitoring?
Yes, he is. He should be in there. So maybe just give us call letters Victor Echo 3, Victor Charlie Golf, and maybe he'll get back to you.
Victor Charlie Golf, got a copy on KC9VKV?
Roger. Victor Echo 3, Victor Charlie Golf. I copy.
Roger. Don't tell Rob you're louder than he is.
Roger that. Well, he's portable.
Roger. I think your mic gain might be just a little bit hotter. Your dynamic range is a little bit less than his, so you're fatter than he is, Roger.
Yeah, Roger. I've got a new Kenwood TS480 SAT, and Rob was kind enough to help me set it up. And I guess this is the definitive test.
Roger. Now, are you guys both tooling down the highway?
Negative. I'm sitting here in my shack.
Oh, is he mobile?
I thought he was mobile. I'm not sure.
No, I'm at home, Jim.
Okay, well, I just envisioned you guys tooling down the highway, you know, and one in back of the other, and I was joking there, Rob. You both are very loud stations, Roger.
Yeah, okay, very good, no problem. Anyway, I'll sit back here and let you talk to Marvin. That's his name, V3PCP.
Roger, Marvin, come on back and tell me about your antenna system.
Yeah, roger that. I'm running about 130-foot input made by a company down in Florida called My Antennas. Very pleased with it. It's about 30 feet at the peak. It's an inverted V, and I've got two legs pointed in two different directions, but it's about 30 feet at the peak and about 20 feet on either end.
That is doing you a real good job. Now, what's the orientation? What directions are those elements going?
Basically north and south and east, sort of. Not precisely, but in that general configuration.
Roger. Now I'm doing my darndest to bring up my Milford PA SDR. Always interesting to use the right end of the stylus when you're banging the the tablet. Gosh, the tablet lasts a lot longer, I think, if you would just use the right end of the stylus, James. And I come back and let me see if I can copy you maybe a little bit better on the Milford PA SDR.
Roger that. Roger that. Well, the best I can tell you at the moment is that I have this radio now for, I guess, about 2 days. And Rob was kind enough to spend some time with me yesterday, and we fiddled with the settings, and this is the result. My ALC is about 50%, and I've got the processor on. And to this is the first radio I've had with that kind of dynamic control, and so I'm stumbling through it.
Well, you're stumbling in the right direction. I think you've got it set up real well. I finally got my Milford SDR up, and you were giving Milford about a 12 over, Roger.
A 12 over, Roger. Roger that. From you.
I'm sorry, I was switching back to my local antenna. I got nothing on my local antenna, but I do have U12 over on the Milford SDR. Oh, what was the last you said?
SDR. Oh, what was the last you said? Just wondered where Milford is located. I don't know.
Oh, it's Milford, Pennsylvania. Now you know as much as I do.
Now you know as much as I do. Oh, okay. Well, they're pretty close to me. So I routinely hear people very well from New York. I'm here in Southern Ontario. I am about 20 minutes or 30 minutes away from Rob.
Roger that. I do have Rochester up, and I did go to Rochester, but your signal was nowhere near as loud as on Milford. But if you get a chance, this is all being recorded, and I have an input source indicator on the screen. What it is a group of 6 lights, and then over to the right-hand side it says what they are. So as I switch, I have a 6-position rotary switch, and 4 of those positions are my SDRs, Rochester, Atlanta, Milford, and Arlington. And so as I switch, and those lights will indicate where I am. So if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to our Qso-Vlog page. And then if you look for My Group Aircheck 32020, My Group Aircheck 32020, that you'll be able to see your signal and how it sounds at the different SDRs, Roger?
At the different SDRs, Roger? Roger, I copy all of that. Thank you very much. 7-3.
Roger, Marvin. Let me say 3s to you, sir. You're sounding really good down here, in Milford. I forget a lot of times, on this 6-position rotary switch, I'm only looking for the loudest signal. I usually don't pay much attention to where it is. I'm just looking for signal strength, Roger.
Just looking for signal strength, Roger. Roger, roger. Well understood. Okay, very nice. Well, Milford is south of me. That's the best I can tell you.
Well, you know, there's nothing better than the right antenna at the right place. That's the whole idea about these 4 SDRs. I've kind of set them up in a grid. You know, I've got Atlanta for stuff coming up south, you know, that I can get a little advantage in getting it earlier on somewhere as opposed to having to go all the way to Louisville. And then the Rochester and Milford are the same ideas, except Milford is further inland than Rochester, and Arlington is kind of in the center of that all. So you know, we've tried to do the best we can to get good signals from our 100-watt friends.
Good signals from our 100-watt friends. Yeah, roger that. And I'm pleased to know that my 100 watts is making the trip. Perhaps next Friday I'll try my vertical and see how that works.
Yes, always interesting. And, you know, gosh, if you could put that on an AV switch, you know, the thing about it is at HF frequencies, we can make almost anything work for a switch. It's not like UHF, where if you make a mistake, you lose 20 dB signal strength because the switch had a crinkle in it or something. You know, these HF frequencies are fairly tolerant as far as switching. You could even use one of those little toggle switches there, and put your couple of fittings on it. And you could bring, you know, one to your radio and 2 inputs for your antennas, and actually make you an AV switch there. And that way, that's so much more revealing when you can compare things right AV next to each other, bink bink like that, Roger.
Each other, bink bink like that, Roger. Roger, roger. Well, up until yesterday, I had that exact arrangement with the radios that I have here, and with the antennas that I have a switch. However, this Kenwood has 2 antenna ports on the back, and so I can actually go back and forth right here from the face of the radio.
Roger, those are receive inputs. You could actually switch your transmitter antennas?
Transmitter antennas? Yeah, roger, roger. Push of a button, I can go from one to the other.
Excellent, excellent. Well, then you're in fine shape there. My 990 has got an aux in for receive only. I don't have that capability right at the moment. I have when I was running the 7300, I did have to make a mute switch that would, when I would be in the transmit mode, the mute switch would mute my 2 10-foot mag loop antennas from going into the radio receiver, because you know, you're running a kilowatt there, and that RF is floating around, so you don't want that getting back into your receiver for the radio that's in the receive, as you're in the transmit mode on the other radios. So you have to make a mute switch, Roger.
A mute switch, Roger. Roger, roger. A kilowatt back into the radio is a bad idea.
Yeah, Roger, that doesn't play very good there. Anyway, Marvin, let me say threes to you, sir. Doing a great job, Roger.
Yes, sir, doing a great job, Roger. Roger, roger. Thank you very much again. 7-3.
Roger, roger. And Rob, thank you, sir, for checking in. You're sounding great, as always.
And you're sounding great, as always.
Yeah, no problem, Jim. Thanks very much. Like I was saying earlier, I'm on my Kenwood TS520. It's an old rig. And checked in with it a couple weeks ago using my modified D104 with the electric cartridge in. And I've got a different mic here. It's a high impedance Shure desk mic, 444 I think is the number, so that's what I'm using today. And I've had reports it sounds pretty good too.
Roger, now you're running a high impedance mic and a low impedance input, is that a Roger?
Mic and a low impedance input, is that a Roger?
Oh, negative. No, the TS520 is a high impedance input.
I thought you had stumbled onto a marvel of electronics there. It sounds really good.
It sounds really good.
Yeah, QSL. Yeah, the TS520 is a 70s era rig, and it's one of the Kenwood hybrids, so it's got the built-in 12-volt power supply, and it's actually a vacuum tube transmitter section QSL.
Roger, Rob. Well, it sounds just beautiful. I think you've got it going on there, Roger, Roger.
Got it going on there, Roger, Roger.
Yeah, QSO. Well, thanks very much, Jim. Thanks for spending the time to work Marvin there. And Marvin, he's a relatively new ham. He was in a class that I taught a couple of years ago that my wife and son were in as well, and they also got their ticket. And Marvin and his wife were both in it, and they both got their tickets. So I'd like to try and help them out when I can. And we talk most days on the local 2-meter repeater, and we're about 25-30 miles apart, I guess, something like that. Anyway, thank you very much, Jim. 7-3 for this afternoon. KC9VKV, V3PCP.
Roger, Rob. 3 set way, sir. Have a good afternoon, and we'll catch you next Friday if you get a chance. This is KC9VKV, the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. If you've got a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Got a radio you want to check out, give me a shout. Delta.
There was a station that ends in Delta. Come back with a call sign slowly, phonetically.
Station that ends in Delta. Come back with a call sign slowly, phonetically.
Hey, Jim, are you talking about me? Victor Alpha 3, Victor Mexico Delta, Roger?
Absolutely, sir. How's things going?
Absolutely, sir. How's things going?
VMD, where'd you go?
VMD, where'd you go?
Oh, hey, Jim. Sorry, I wasn't sure I wasn't, you were referring to me. Hey, Jim, it's Vito up in Toronto. I won't keep it long because you got a pile up there. I just wanted to say, hope you're staying safe and healthy from Vito, your friend north of the border, just north of Toronto, Roger?
Yes, sir, Vito. Now, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to recon Montreal and see if you can find any human bodies that are hams up in Montreal. That I would like to develop a what do they call those stations up north there? Those stations that used to look out for Russian bombers. A distant early warning system up in Montreal, Roger.
A distant early warning system up in Montreal, Roger.
Okay. Why is that, Jim? Did I miss something here? Go ahead.
No. I just, it's an old thing. When we were building this station, we had this mantra, 20 over from Montreal to Miami, and I'm just trying to verify that that's where we are. Now, I know you guys are just west of Montreal, aren't you?
You guys are just west of Montreal, aren't you?
Yeah, I can get to Montreal in about 4.5, 5 hours, right down the 401, all the way east there. So, and we do enjoy Montreal. Love their waterfront there and their old Montreal with their cobblestone roads and phenomenal restaurants. Jim, what do you think?
Yeah, Roger. Well, see if you can scare somebody up to join us some Friday afternoon from Montreal. I really would appreciate that. I'll look forward to that if you could do it.
I really would appreciate that. I'll look forward to that if you could do it.
Hey, Jim, there are a few guys from La Belle Province de Quebec that I do know occasionally. I'll definitely throw them up around 7.188 on Friday afternoons. I'll do my best to do that. How's that, Jim?
Oh, Roger. I'm just curious if, I'm sure we are 20 over in Montreal, but I want a human to say that.
In Montreal, but I want a human to say that.
Hey, Jim, let me tell you something. I'm pretty sure you're about 20 dB over everywhere. What do you think?
I don't know. We are set up for pretty much the East Coast, from Montreal to Miami with a hotspot through the Carolinas, Roger.
From Montreal to Miami with a hotspot through the Carolinas, Roger.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Maryland. There's Maryland giving us the thumbs up. Both 20 dB over there in Maryland, Jim. So there you go. But hey, listen, you're a good guy, Jim. We ensure your listeners know to go to your YouTube. Most of the listeners out there do as well, and make sure your listeners know to go to your and listen themselves up there with that beautiful signal and that station of yours. As well, Jim. Hey, listen, buddy, you stay safe and you stay healthy, and I'll get those Quebecois on the frequency one of these days, Roger.
Roger, Vito. No, I'm counting on you. And I just went around the horn with my SDRs. So if you get a chance to check out the Qso-Vlog net by, doing a KC9VKV search on YouTube, you'll see me twirling around on my input source indicator, and you're about 20 over on Rochester and Milford. My Atlanta and Arlington SDRs are down at the moment. I'm sure you'll be 20 over on those too.
Okay, Jim, it's just my little 73.
Jim, well, it's just my little 7300, and my ACOM pushing out about 660 watts. So, but we always get good conditions to you, whether I'm running the amp or not. You always got a good signal into you, and likewise coming this way, Jim. Hey, listen, you be good, be safe. I heard a lot of stations calling, so I think you gave this Canuck north of the border enough airtime, my friend. It's always a pleasure. And we'll say 73, God bless, and stay safe. Roger?
Roger, Vito 3, sir. Thanks for checking in. Always a pleasure. You have a real good weekend. And join us next Friday if you get a chance. This is KC9VKV, the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. If you've got a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Give me a shout.
November 4, Mike Tango Sierra.
Mike Tango Sierra. I come back with the call sign again, slowly phonetically.
Yeah, Roger. November 4, Mike Tango Sierra.
Roger. And what's the name there?
Yeah, the name here is Chuck.
Roger, Chuck. And whereabouts are you, sir?
We're located in northwest Georgia, a little town called Rockmart, about an hour northwest of Atlanta.
Oh, Roger. Well, you're doing about 10 over on my local receiver, Roger.
Yeah, Roger. I was just hoping to get an audio check from you. I've got this a fairly new ICOM 7610 that's brand new to me. I haven't learned all the features of it, and had a local guy here try to help me get the audio set up, and I was just wondering what you thought about it.
Well, let's do a little fattening if you would like. The first thing is to engage your compressor at about a 3. Get your compressor on at about a 3, Roger.
Okay, there's the compressor right there at a level 3.
All right, now go to your AOC, and with mic gain in hand, adjust your mic gain to where your AOC is reading mid-scale to 2/3. And that is a transmit condition. You have to be in transmit to do that.
Okay, yeah. Well, I think we can bring the mic gain up some. Trying to do it as we talk. Yeah, that's about 2/3 right there. Mic gain is at 52%.
All right, now let's, you know where your peak button is on the left-hand side of that radio?
No, sir, the peak button.
I'm sorry, quick. Do you know where your quick button is?
No, I'm not familiar with the quick button.
On the left-hand side of your radio, there would be a little push button. I think it's called quick. I'm trying to recall it, but you know. Do you know where? No, hang on just a minute. Your ICOM 7610, Roger.
Roger.
All right, there should be a push button there on the left-hand side, from the middle point out to the left-hand side of that radio, and it's labeled quick.
I don't. Oh yeah, quick. Yeah, I see it. Okay.
Okay, hit quick.
Okay.
That'll take you to. What are your options there?
Well, it changes when I transmit it, but I want to say quick, memory, and then something else.
What's the something else? It's like, oh gosh, I'm having a mental relapse here. Peak?
Yeah, VFO, memory, Drive gain.
Yes, drive. All right, what's your reading on drive? You should be at 50% on drive.
Yeah, 50%.
All right, crank that up to 60%.
Okay, that's at 60%.
All right, now tell me about your antenna system.
We're using an off-center-fed dipole, multi-band. Apex is about 30 feet.
All right, I think you're pretty full there. That last control just gave you about 15 to 20% more modulation, and so you're looking really good now. What I would suggest, some people have voices that are, just kind of peaky, and what I would suggest would be that you turn your watt meter around to where you can see it, and put it in the PEP mode, where it moves a little faster, and you know where the sweet spot is on that meter. So as you're talking, you play a game of trying to keep that meter up at the sweet spot. So you have to maybe increase your tempo of speech just a little bit, and more average your peaks of your voice, the strongness of your voice, if you will, so where you're kind of even and trying to keep that meter right in the sweet spot. Roger?
Yeah, Roger. Yeah, this I'm using HF Auto for a tuner. I don't have an external meter. I use the meter that's on the HF Auto, and I'm using an ALS 1300. And I mean, it varies. I mean, peaking around almost 1200, sometimes a little above 1200 there, 1300 watts.
Roger. Well, the more you look at it and the more you play with it, the more consistent you will be with your modulation level. And that also means that you stay on axis with your microphone. Now, see that drive will try to keep your audio level at the same place, and if you get off axis to your microphone, you will lose the top end, but that drive will continue to try to bring that modulation up, so you will get maybe a little muddy. So you want to stay on axis to your mic. Roger?
Yeah, Roger. Well, that's where I normally talk into it right there, normally direct ahead. And I'm sitting here looking at the meter, and yeah, as you get a little bit closer, that's where I normally try to right there. Hopefully it's not getting too muddy.
No, not at all. I would run it just like you did last time. That last transmission was just perfect, Roger.
Oh, Roger. Well, hey, I appreciate the help. I know there's a bunch of other guys that are in there, and I'll let you get with them.
Alrighty, so this is Chuck in Georgia?
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah, Charlie Hotel Uniform Charlie Kilo, Chuck here in Northwest Georgia.
Roger, Chuck. Well, thanks to you, sir. Sounding good. If you get a chance, check out YouTube and listen to your audio. If you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to our Qso-Vlog page, and on that page you'll be looking for a particular Aircheck. It's called My Group Aircheck 3/20/20. Today's date, My Group Aircheck 3/20/20. Roger?
Yeah, Roger. Much obliged. I'll let you carry on with the next one. November 4, Mike Tango Sierra.
Roger, Chuck. Thanks to you, sir. Have a great afternoon, great weekend, and like I say, if you get a chance, join us next Friday afternoon. We'll be looking for you. This is KC9VKV, and we've got, well, gosh, I'm slowly turning into a pumpkin, but I got room for one more. This is KC9VKV listening.
November 4, Kilo
Whiskey 4, Delta Charlie Lima Mobile.
Delta Charlie Lima. Let me get that down there. Delta Charlie Lima Mobile. Go ahead.
Well, thank you very much, Jim. Whiskey 4, Delta Charlie Lima. This is Carol in Charlotte, North Carolina. Over.
Roger, was that Carol?
Carol in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Roger, well, you're giving me about a 12 over my local noise level, Roger.
Oh, that's great. You're 20 over S9 and great audio, of course, over.
Roger. Now, I don't know if you would want to, but you might be just a little hot going into your ALC. If you have the opportunity, I'd pull that mic down just a tad,
Okay, that's down 5%. How is that there, over?
Still into that ALC pretty hot. I'd do another equal amount one more time.
Okay, how about there? That's 5% more.
Yes, sir, that's got it there. You've got about a 3 dB dynamic range, average percent of peak modulation between 80 and 85%. The other way, it was hotter, but it was ragged. Roger.
Oh, that's great. That's what I wanted to get. Sometimes in the car, you get a little desperate for the antenna and you try to make up for it, over.
Oh, roger that, yeah. And so you, but that's just perfect right there.
Well, thank you very much, Jim. I appreciate your help. I've enjoyed this ICOM radio, but it's always good to have somebody help you set it up. Roger.
Roger. And what was the model number again?
ICOM 7100.
Roger. Sounding really good. What's your antenna on that mobile?
Little Tar Heel HD. It's a screwdriver antenna that goes to 40 meters, over.
Just beautiful. Like 12 dB over my noise level.
Well, that's good. That's enough signal to actually get some help there, and I appreciate your help today, over.
Roger. Roger, Carol. 3's that way, sir. And I got to get out of here, man. This turning into a pumpkin thing is getting serious.
Well, you've worked hard today, and we all appreciate you, Jim, and send me 3s to you. This is W4DCL. Have a good weekend.
Roger, Carol. And so your audio will be up on YouTube in the next couple of days. If you go to YouTube and do that call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to our Qso-Vlog page. And on that page, you'll be looking for My Group Aircheck 32020. My Group Aircheck 32020. Roger.
Well, that's great, Jim. Thank you so much. Send me 3s to you. Have a great weekend.
Roger, roger. And that will wrap it up for us. Since 3:30, we've been recording live. And so if you participated and wanted to hear what your audio sounds like, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to our Qso-Vlog page. We're right now running about 1,020 Qso-Vlog air checks. But this one in particular should be on page 1 if YouTube cooperates, and it will be called My Group Aircheck 32020. And so with that, we'll say 3's all. Enjoyed it, and we'll see you next Friday afternoon between 3:30 and 5. So we will be returning this frequency back to normal amateur use, and this is KC9VKV Clear.